Hey guys, so I wanted to make a quick video. We'll see how pissed off I am. But I saw that there was a story recently about a Door Dasher who asked a woman to tip more because she did a $5 tip. Now, I think we can say right off the bat, like, asking someone for more money is not great. It's not good protocol. You shouldn't do it, right? With that being said, Door Dashing and Grubhub and Uber Eats are garbage. You don't get tipped or paid what you're worth. It is a ridiculous service, and the reality is that more people should not use those services. More people should tip cash. The reality is we live in a society where nobody is honest about how much a person is worth and how much some jobs are. So before all these convenience apps, there were delivery guys, but many times the restaurants would protect them. They'd be like, oh, so you just got a $10 wrap and a can of soda? Guess what? That is not going to get delivered. There has to be a minimum. 20, 25, 30, there has to be a minimum for delivery because they understood the guy is going out and he's driving, or the woman, they're putting mileage on their cars. Gas is a thing. Gas is expensive. The upkeep for a car, you have to pay insurance. For this to be worth anything, you need to have a minimum on the orders. Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash don't have minimums. So, I've done it recently because I wanted to see what it was like. It was harrowing. It was harrowing. It was terrible. I'm I'm a very strong writer, and I'm trying to write some poems and stories so I could shoot my shot and see where I can go with my writing, right? But any writer or any creative, they tell you how much they fear the blank page because they don't know how to get the story started. They don't know how to put their words on paper. It's very scary. Door dashing for just a handful of hours made me pull out a quill and a scroll so quick. I was like, you know what? Anything's better than this garbage. Let me go write about my lame, corny, cringy feelings. Let me go write about a cloud, a leaf, anything. Because anything is better than this, okay? In the story, the DoorDasher wanted more money for inclement weather. I do think that is a factor. If it is raining or it is snowing, yes, you should pay more. Yeah. I don't have anything else to tell you. Yeah, you should. One of the days that I was door dashing, it was raining. And one of the girls, she got again, not the biggest thing from Red Lobster. I had to be buzzed into her apartment, run all the way upstairs, leave it at her door. And for that whole trip that took maybe 30 to 40 minutes, I got $7.83. So that's almost an hour, and I'm getting less than half of minimum wage while I have to pay for gas, insurance. I'm putting mileage on my car. It's not worth it. These little side gigs, these little hustles are akin to very mediocre jobs, incredibly mediocre jobs. The thing is, it's the same thing like with the food industry. It is ridiculous that they only make $2 or something an hour and they have to rely on tips. You cannot rely on tips from people. Not everybody has the same morals, values, or ethics. Not everybody is going to actually tip you well. How many people are going to be like, you know what? I really want this food. I don't have enough money for tip. I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to drive to the restaurant and get it. Most people will be like, no, my needs need to be met. I'm too lazy to get my fat ass, my diabetic ass off this couch to go and get some stuff. It's the reality. We are a very fat country. We're a very obese country. So, which just makes it even funnier when you have like so many people rely on these services and then they don't tip well. It's sad. It is what it is. Now, are there some people that have health issues that really need the help? Are there some people that are swamped with stuff with their kids? Yes. I think I don't know how many orders I had in total, but I think only like 2, maybe 2 to 4 people actually tipped what I thought was sufficient and actually made sense for the duration of the trip and, you know, how long it took to get there. There was another girl who I picked up 2 food orders from her, and then she called me and she asked for extra stuff from McDonald's. If you call your dasher and you're asking them for extra stuff, you should tip more. And what I got was a lot of thank yous. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I don't care that you appreciate me. I don't care about your thanks. This is a job. Pay me more. It is what it is. So going forward, I know myself, I won't be using Grubhub or Uber Eats or DoorDasher as frequently as I used to. If I really have to do it, I'm going to make sure it's for a big family order, and I'm going to tip cash. That's going to be what I do moving forward, because it isn't fair. We don't know how much things are actually worth anymore. It's the same thing why we have all this fast fashion. I'm not going to pay more than, $10, $15 for a pair of pants. And then when you actually sit down and do the math of this is how much quality fabric cost, this is how much quality sewing work or a quality seamstress cost, this is how much their labor costs, this is how much you really should be paying for these jeans so the people can make a profit and they don't have to rely on sweatshop labor. Nobody's willing to do that. We live in a time period where people aren't incredibly ethical or moral or have very strong values. The thing that supersedes everything is convenience. I matter. I'm a narcissist. I can go online and I can have dozens, some people have thousands, some people have millions of people who like and subscribe and listen to the BS that comes out of their mouth. Even me. I have a background in psychology and psych rehab. Everything else, I'm just shooting off the cuff. I'm just some girl in Jersey with a camera, with a phone, putting my thoughts on the internet. That's the majority of people. And we're creating a society where people think that they are more special and more unique than they actually are. Life is about sacrifice. I don't know what you want me to tell you. And I don't think that anybody's being honest with, for me to have the level of convenience that I have in this modern day and age, there's a lot of people that are getting screwed over because a lot of people are not making exactly what they're worth. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub do not give a crap about their employees. I don't even want to look up how much the CEOs are making, but I know it's buku money when you compare it to the pennies that the drivers are making. And if more people used these services less, if more people tipped better, we might have a better society. This is just one small factor, but this is so many things where we bemoan and we bitch and we complain and we don't realize like we all have a hand in this. There is millions and billions of us. There's so few of them, but we don't use any power. We're not united. Uber Eats, DoorDasher, Grubhub, there's no union protecting these guys. We know how expensive, in certain states, in New Jersey, car insurance is ridiculously expensive. And when I went over to California, gas is insane. These jobs are not worth it. You're really not coming out on top. So many people are just so desperate for money. So even though the DoorDasher was wrong to ask the person to tip more, I think the reality is these services are really lousy. They're really lousy to make any money on. Humans are not going to take consideration or have empathy for the other person, because people, in a tipping culture, people are just going to be like, well, if the order was $10 or whatever, they're going to go by the percentages, and they're going to be like, yeah, that's a good enough tip. $5 tip, I wonder how much he made on that ride. I'm going to repeat it again. Uber, Grubhub, DoorDash, they care about their own pocket. They are skimming. I wonder how much they're skimming from what is their cut of every single person who's doing this. We didn't need a middleman. We just needed restaurants to care about their delivery workers and to tell people, no, if you just, I had an order where the guy just ordered a chicken parm sandwich. Like, that's it. So how much does a sandwich cost? $10, maybe $12. So how much do you think that tip was? But it was still, from the restaurant to the guy, there was some time in between that. You're making pennies. You're getting screwed over on this. So no, being a delivery person was always like, you were kind of at the bottom of the barrel in terms of how much money you could make. But if you had a really good restaurant, if you had a restaurant that, a lot of families ordered from, or they had catering a lot of the time, sometimes you could look forward to a really great tip. You don't have that anymore. You don't have someone protecting you. You don't have anybody telling the customer, no, you can't order a $10 sushi roll and have it delivered 20 minutes away. No. These organizations are not going to put their foot down. They're not going to be like, you know what? Actually, the weather is bad, so we're going to increase the, how they do their little, like, oh, this is for the service. Increase those rates so you can give the drivers bigger cuts. Not every, I've used these services. I've used them because I was just lazy. I've used them because I didn't want to take my fat ass up off my bed, up off the couch, and go and get food. I'm like, I don't feel like driving. I've done that too. If I've also had DoorDashers come in the rain. They get tipped way more than when it's a regular sunny day. My minimum for a tip is $10. I am not going beneath that. In this economy, I don't go beneath $10. That is something that I decide. And when I don't have money, I don't use those services. I say, no, you don't have the money to pay the people what they're actually worth, so don't use the service. That's it. That's what it is. And we live in a society that is incredibly spoiled, that thinks that their needs matter more than anybody else. They don't. Before, it used to be known, like if you went to, because even this used to be shown in like movies and TV shows a lot when I was growing up. A guy, messed up with his girl or whatever. He was at a club or somewhere. He'd go up to the guy. He'd pass. We never saw how much he passed, but back in the day, maybe what? It had to be minimum $10, maybe $20. But you had to pay good money, because it's like, bro, I want you to DJ request, play this song so I could get my girl back. I could get some cheeks tonight. You know what I mean? You knew to get anything more or to have a special treatment, you gotta pay more. We live in a capitalist society, and what these little gig apps have done is they've screwed with people's heads, and they've made them forget. If you want certain things, you gotta pay more. And if you can't afford it, guess what? You don't get the thing you want. It's okay. We also live in a society that has so much. Everybody is struggling right now. Everybody's struggling right now. It looks like we're going to hit a recession. So it sucks because the Uber guys and the DoorDash and the Grubhub, there are some people, they really don't have other options. Like, the job market is awful. It is absolutely awful. So you have these corporations that are not going to pay the workers what they're worth. The people are not going to tip them what they're worth. They're not going to think, well, you know, if somebody is doing this, you know, they probably need the money, and like I'm in a good financial place where I'm like, I could give a little bit more money. How many people actually donate on a regular basis? It's very far and few between. I don't donate as often as I can either. So I've explained to like friends and family, well, I have a higher tipping range than most people, because instead of donating, that's my contribution. That's my pay it forward. That's my little bit of like karma or goodwill in the world, you know? And they're doing me a solid. It's the same thing when I go get a beauty service. Minimum is $10. I don't go below that. That's the minimum. And I've had people look at me, da da da. I'm like, they rely on tips. If I know this and they're doing a great job, and they come in, they like, you know, I like what they do, I'm having a relaxing time, I'm going to tip them appropriately. It is what it is. Like, I don't understand. Nobody has any standards for themselves. You know what? I'm not gonna order just a pizza slice and just a Coca-Cola, because that's not worth it for the person that is driving. They're just going to think about themselves. People just think about themselves. We live in a world that lacks compassion and lacks empathy. People are out to get theirs and theirs alone. So again, the DoorDasher was wrong to ask for the money, but I understand the sentiment of like, I'm doing this. I think more DoorDashers, Grubhubs, and Uber Eats guys, I think if you get a request, like, don't answer the phone. Don't do that. You know, like the girl that called me, I'll be honest, I didn't do this on purpose. I got the wrong type of mustard, and I didn't get the extra ice cream cone from McDonald's, because the lady at the McDonald's counter was not having it. She's like, no, I'm not giving you an extra cone. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. So, but she didn't increase the tip. And so moving forward, I'm not answering the phone call. If you're asking for extra, I'm like, nah, I'm not at the restaurant. I already left. You're not going to tip more? F off. That's what it should be. If you want more from a delivery person, you need to pay more. People don't do that. I think people do need to take inclement weather into consideration. I think that people need to have a standard, and like, even though I'm not going to, because it's not worth it to have someone drive out here just for a $2 tip because my order was only $7. It doesn't make any sense. But those are just my thoughts on it. If you are a creative person who is struggling to do something creative, DoorDash for one night, because I promise you, it is so humiliating, and it is so like, just because you know that you're not making what you're worth, you're gonna go home and you're gonna create. It's gonna light a fire under your butt. You're gonna be like, this is awful. And I feel really bad for anybody that genuinely has to rely on that to really make money, because this is not the society that's built for it. We are a society of croc wearing, pajama wearing imbeciles who have cameras shoved up their face and their hoo-has, who don't sit with themselves and really work on the type of person that they want to be, the type of morals, values, and ethics that they want to have, and don't know how to say no. Just because I can doesn't mean that I should. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm very hot because, you know, I'm applying to jobs right now, and I thought that in the meantime, you know, I could do that. And I knew I wasn't gonna make tons of money, but I was very surprised at how little money I made, even with going to places that are like, you know, you're like, okay, well, this area is a lot of like professionals or students, I should be paid well. No, you're gonna be making pennies, and it's really not worth it. It's not worth it to drive 20, 35 minutes in total to pick up someone's single chicken parm meal. That was one of my first orders. No, it was a penne vodka meal. I guess the meal total was like, what, $10? So I only got like a $2 tip or something like that. And to go, you know, to a place that can be hard to find. That's another thing. The amount of times that I had like locations that were like hotels or just in the middle of bum F nowhere where you had to, like, it was very hard to get to, and they're also tipping not well. That's the other thing. Where's your location? What is the weather like? Are you asking for more services? All of these things need to be included into the type of tip that you're going to make, and people don't, because people are just very mediocre in today's day and age. But let me know what you think. I was very tight. I'm probably going to keep talking about this in another video, but I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.